Welcome to the NewsHour. Gaza's healthcare system and its central hospital are in collapse, more than 5 weeks since the Hamas terror attacks that sparked this war. Those who can still leave northern Gaza are now streaming south.
Layla Molana Allen again starts our coverage after spending much of the day in Gaza with the Israel Defense Forces. An editorial note: the IDF reviewed the video that NewsHour recorded in Gaza, they say, for their operational security. The IDF had no editorial role in this story prior to its broadcast.
For us, it's very clear.
There are no roads left here. As we cross the border into Gaza, leaving the same dirt track that hordes of Hamas terrorists used to invade Israeli towns on October 7th, the landscape becomes little more than dust. Towns in this area were flattened as Israeli troops fought Hamas militants in the early weeks of the war. We were given access to embed with the IDF inside Gaza, subject to Israeli military restrictions. So that's the border over there.
Yeah, you can see the border, you can see all the kibbutzes that has been attacked.
The IDF believes Jodoradik, a farming village once home to 5,000 people, was a key planning and staging outpost for the attacks.
A lot of outposts and a lot of anti-tank missile that we found over here. And many houses was booby-trapped with wires that exploded before the IDF soldiers get inside.
Gilad says this is just one of the many locations where tunnels have already been found and capped. But they know that they're connected to hundreds of miles more beneath the strip.
We are speaking about hundreds of open holes and tunnels in the ground that Hamas has built during the years in order to make all of Gaza a huge terror compound. Only in this village itself we found 5 pit holes, 3 main tunnels under the civilians' houses.
They say they can't show us these tunnels because there's a risk there are still active fighters inside.
Each tunnel have a different purpose. For example, the tunnels we found here we call it closing tunnels. Closing to the border, closing to the IDF soldiers in order to infiltrate them or to flank them in beneath and to strike them. It is very likely to say that we are standing right now above a tunnel that we haven't found yet, but we're going to find it sooner or later.
It's hard to believe anyone could live here again.
The scale of destruction here and in so many other villages along Gaza's border with Israel is complete. Every house is gutted.
The UN's humanitarian office says 45% of Gaza's homes have already been damaged or completely destroyed. As we roll further inside the strip, the navigator tracks the terrain through the sights of this armored vehicle. A wasteland of twisted metal and dirt, almost unrecognizable as an area where thousands of people once lived. Suddenly, an urgent call on the radio. A soldier's been wounded at the location we're headed to.
The team's just been told that one of the soldiers securing the humanitarian corridor has been shot in the neck, perhaps by a sniper. They're trying to organize his evacuation by helicopter.
We're connected between the wounded soldier, the chopper, and his car. The convoy is leaving its way with the casualty on it toward the border.
Ahead, emerging over the crest of a military outpost, Gazan civilians on foot, weighed down not by the meager bags they carry, but by weeks of constant fear and devastating loss.
As Israel continues its bombardment of Gaza by air and by land, behind me you can see hundreds of Gazan civilians trying to evacuate down the main north-south highway. They're weary and hungry, and in the background you can hear gunfire, which the Israeli military tells us is Hamas militants fighting with Israeli soldiers as they try to stop civilians evacuating.
Soldiers take cover to secure the passage.
If there's anybody who's been kidnapped or
The IDF call out regularly in both Hebrew and English, hoping to find hostages hidden in the crowds and signal to them to come out. 4-hour daily combat pauses for evacuations have been agreed. There's no sign of them yet. Abu Shadi says his community has suffered beyond imagining and now faces a long walk into the unknown.
We have no food or water, and we are displaced from our home. Our building was destroyed with our belongings inside. I'm fleeing with no clothes. We are all without clothes and don't know what to do. What can we do?
What condition are the Gazan civilians that you're seeing crossing here in?
I think that the people over here know that they have an opportunity to protect their lives. They are waiting for them on the southern part of the strip with havens, with tents, with water, with food.
These people hope and have been told that by fleeing south they may lose their homes, but they'll save their lives. But Gazans who've already reached the south say the bombardment there is nearly as bad and the living conditions unbearable. Anwar fears the worst is yet to come.
I was in Al-Shifa hospital. I was expecting it to be a safe place for us and other citizens, but it was not a safe place. This place is not safe either. There is bombing everywhere. There is no mercy. These are mass massacres.
The IDF says it's doing its best to minimize casualties, but has no choice but to eradicate Hamas in spite of the civilian toll. Israelis, often at odds over internal politics, are almost universally united over this war, which they see as a fight for their country's very survival. Gazans, caught in the crossfire, will soon have no country left. For the PBS NewsHour, I'm Layla Milana Allen, on Salah al-Din Street, the Gaza Strip.